Old Thomas was found sitting beside the river bank, clutching an old leather bag soaked in blood. His face was pale, his eyes wide like a man who had seen a ghost. The townsfolk whispered about madness. But before the sheriff arrived, Thomas looked at the sky and muttered, "He took her. And I sold her to him. God help me. I sold her." Everyone thought he meant his daughter. But he was talking about a cow. And the trader who bought her was never a man of this world. Chapter 1: The Cow Seller of Birchfield. Thomas Grady, 67 years old, had lived all his life in Birchfield, a little farming village tucked between the Smoky Hills and the river. Folks knew him as the cow seller, honest, quiet, and weathered like the barns he built. His cows were known for their size, strength, and most of all, their strange calmness. Especially one. Her name was Daisy. She wasn't like the others. She followed Thomas like a pup, nudged his hand when she wanted hay. Townsfolk joked she was half angel. But Thomas didn't joke. "She understands me," he once told the pastor. Chapter 2: A Stranger Comes to Town. It was the driest summer in 20 years. The ground cracked, grass died, and water ran thin. Farmers were selling cattle for cheap. Thomas, though, kept Daisy. One morning, a long black truck rolled into Birchfield. The man who stepped out was tall, pale. He called himself Mr. Silas. He walked into Thomas's barn like he owned it and stared straight at Daisy. "I'll give you 10 times her worth," Silas said, his voice smooth like oil. Thomas shook his head. "She's not for sale." Silas didn't argue. Just left a card on the hay. It read, "When you change your mind, the deal will still be good." Chapter 3: The Fire and the Decision. That night, a fire broke out in Birchfield. 3 barns burned. 2 families lost everything. Thomas woke to find smoke on the horizon. Next morning, a bank letter arrived. Mortgage rates doubled. Birchfield's only vet had died of a sudden stroke. And Daisy wasn't eating. She stood still, eyes on the horizon, like she knew something was coming. Thomas wept. He needed money. Fast. He took Silas's card. The man was waiting. Chapter 4: The Last Trade. Daisy didn't resist when they loaded her onto the black truck. Thomas couldn't meet her eyes. Silas didn't say a word. Just handed over a thick envelope, nodded, and drove off. The sky turned grey within hours. Chapter 5: Strange Rumors. It started in Hollow Creek, 30 miles out. A man swore he saw a cow walking alone at night down the highway, eyes glowing like lanterns. Another swore the cow knocked on his door and stared at his wife like it knew her. Thomas read the reports in the newspaper. He didn't sleep. Then Birchfield's river turned red for a day, and every cow in the county stopped mooing. They just stared at the hills. Chapter 6: The Return. 3 weeks after the sale, the black truck returned. No driver. Inside, just Daisy, covered in mud, breathing hard, and a note tied to her collar, "You brought her to me. Now you pay." Thomas collapsed. He held Daisy like a dying child. Her eyes looked human. Her heart beat fast. That night, he saw Silas standing in the fields, watching, smiling. Chapter 7: The Confession. Thomas ran to the sheriff, told him everything. They laughed, said he was old, grieving, losing it. But the sheriff's dog never barked again. And the town vet found dead with hoof prints on his chest. Chapter 8: The Final Night. Thomas took Daisy back to the river where his wife was buried. He begged the heavens. Lightning split the sky. Daisy raised her head and let out a sound that wasn't a moo. It was a scream. Then she vanished. Just disappeared. The townsfolk found Thomas at dawn. Blood on his hands. Eyes wide. He said, "She went to save us. That cow took the devil's deal so I wouldn't burn." Epilogue: The Empty Field. No one saw Daisy again. But Birchfield was never the same. The grass grew green again. Rain returned. Thomas lived another year. Silent. Peaceful. One day, the preacher found him dead under an oak tree, a smile on his face. Next to him was a single cowbell. It rang once, even though there was no wind. Moral. Sometimes the things we love carry burdens we never see. And sometimes they choose to protect us anyway. Even if it means walking into hell.